Good afternoon, cult members, and welcome to the Pop Culture Cult. I'm Sean.
I'm Janice.
This is going to be our instantly after us finally seeing the episode of Doctor Who. This is episode... I forgot to look. Episode 6? I think it's episode 6 of season 2, and this one is, yes, episode 6 of season 2. Look at me.
Yay.
This was the Interstellar Song Contest. It's Eurovision.
Yes.
Okay. What the hell?
So much to unpack with this episode.
There is... Let me get my hands in frame. There is the conversation of a corporation decimating a planet or a country for their natural resources.
That never happens.
And then making them out to be the bad guys.
That never happens.
And then having those people try to attack the corporation by killing hundreds, thousands, millions, billions, trillions of people.
Many
people.
Many.
There's that story. And then there's Susan. What the bleep is going on there? And then we were kind of correct on the what if Mrs. Flood is the assistant to the master. It wasn't the master. It was the Ronnie.
Right. Also a Time Lord.
So, and I kind of want to start here, but we need to do the Interstellar thing because that'll take 5 minutes. The Rage of the Doctor.
Yeah.
The Rage of the Doctor is back. Let's talk about the Interstellar Song Contest and what actually was going on there.
Okay.
We don't watch Eurovision. Song contests aren't our thing. I think it's amazing that it's out there. But when they showed this in the trailer, I was kind of excited about what this episode could be.
Okay.
Specifically with knowing Chuti can sing and know Millie could sing and maybe Millie would be coming back and like all that kind of stuff. Like I really thought that there would be a kind of a fun thing. No, what they ended up doing was because they were trying to triangulate. No, I got the word. Back to Earth, they decided to stay. Belinda and the Doctor decided to stay.
Yeah.
Because
Eurovision,
right?
Like it's not something that people in the U.S. are like. I mean, I'm sure there's many people that don't even know what Eurovision is.
Right.
But,
it's a bigger version of American Idol.
Right, because it's all of Europe.
Yeah.
Not just one country, but like Belinda's like that. She grew up watching this show. Mm-hmm. She when she was a little kid and her parents would let her stay up when the contest was on, and if she brushed her teeth and put on her jammies, and so it's a big deal for her. And apparently, again, we don't watch it. I don't know if this guy is or was an actual MC of Eurovision, but she recognized him as the MC, and they talked about how he has been cryogenically frozen, and they just bust him out for they thaw him out and bring him out because as soon as he got out of the cryogenic thing, he was like, "What year is it?" That would be very disconcerting to
right.
Like you just come out to do the gig and then you go back. So
I would say maybe he like there's pictures of I'm on IMDb, and there's pictures of him at the Eurovision, so he might be the host.
Go back. No, Rylan Clark.
Rylan Clark, yeah.
That was his name.
Yeah.
So whether it's actually him or a proximity of him or whatever, but yeah.
Please be nice. We don't watch Eurovision. We have no concept of what that is. Now there's a trailer rolling on IMDb, so maybe his face will show up. But I love this idea of having this. Let me go back now, or that's gonna distract me. I love this idea of taking something from something that's popular today and pushing it forward so much. It
Yeah.
was the 803rd
Yeah.
Interstellar Song Contest. So
Yeah.
Doctor Who does this every once in a while, and I really appreciated that. Graham Norton showing up is always a win.
Hologram.
I don't care how he shows up.
Hologram Norton.
Hologram Norton. I see what you did there. Him, however, explaining to Belinda and the Doctor that Earth suddenly was
Gone.
destroyed.
Yeah.
On May 24th, 2025, which is what they've been trying to get back to, is the final kind of catalyst to kind of like get them. Oh, because they haven't been able to figure out why they couldn't go back.
Right.
So that I love that it was Graham that was the one that did that. The Hellions were just trying. I won't say just trying. The Hellions were trying to kill as many people as possible because the corporation came in and decimated their planet for the taste of honey,
right.
for the poppy honey,
right.
Not even the actual resources.
Right.
And then they demonized, calling them Hellions, demonized them, and even a couple of the people who did not get sucked out into the void of space were talking about, oh, they're witches and they do all this other stuff.
Yeah. It's I found it interesting that Kid. I don't remember what the girl.
Wynn.
And like Wynn especially had an Irish accent.
Yeah.
That's
Technology 752. Us 1. You were saying about Kid and Wynn.
And Wynn having Wynn specifically had an Irish accent, which is, the IRA. They killed a lot of innocent people. In the 80s, they were doing bombs in trash cans in London. I mean, these people walking down the street had nothing to do with what was going on in Ireland. So that was interesting. But then, I mean, it was kind of almost a conglomeration of several different, Native Americans here were vilified for just protecting their land, so it was kind of a conglomeration. I just found it interesting that at least one of them had an Irish accent.
Right. The one that popped into my head when you were talking about that was the East India Trading Company going in and being the corporation that was taking over the spice running and like pretty much just destroying or killing everybody, especially in India, that kind of part of the world. So it's like we're bringing this up because it's not just one people that this has happened to. It's been across history.
Right.
So having that kind of be the thing, and that Kid was willing to kill trillions to get payback. And then it was actually, what is her name? Cora, who was a Hellion, who sang the song of her people at the end after the Doctor won. I want to look it up. I think it may take 17 tries, but we're going to get through this. What I was saying was that Cora, being a Hellion, and singing the song of her people after everybody had been saved, that was super emotional for everyone who was involved, including Kid and Wynn, to finally hear their song sung at the Euros after the corporation had vilified them and she was able to like tell the story of her people through the song of her people. I thought that was really well done. But I do want to talk about Kid's plan is brilliant, by the way. We're gonna send a sonic wave over the broadcast and neuralize them pretty much. But the Doctor thinking that Belinda had been sucked out into space and had died, that Doctor, the War Doctor, the the Capaldi doctor, the doctor who actually went through the war and had all of that rage. The Tennant doctor.
Yeah.
Who had that rage.
Yeah.
Was finally here.
Yep.
We got a hint of it. Was that last week or the week? It was the Millie Gibson episode.
Yeah.
We got a hint of that
where
when he
mad
went
at the Jerky McJerkface
at Conrad. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that I think that's the one thing we've been missing. Not like I was looking for. I think that's the one thing we've been missing from this version of this Doctor is that underlying rage is sitting there. And I really, oh my God, Chuti has been so amazing. And
yes.
he was ready to burn everyone and everything to the ground to get to Kid.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then he tortured him.
Yeah.
Which is something the Doctor hasn't done.
Yeah.
God damn. And I torture's not right, kids. It's probably very wrong.
It's wrong, but sometimes it feels good.
Yeah. I like that Belinda, too, didn't hold it against him. Like, she said, I was scared for you, and he said, I was scared for me, too.
Right.
But then she was not, I won't say forgiving, but she was accepting of him.
Right. She understood the emotion in the situation.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Because it'd be easy to just be, like, get on your high horse and that was wrong and, what you did is wrong. And she's more like understanding that sometimes, no one is a good person all the time.
Yep.
That just nobody.
Yep.
So.
Yep. And that rage of the Doctor forced him, like, it took River to finally say, across the galaxy in certain places, the word Doctor means warrior.
Yeah. Yep.
And we got to see that. And I think I didn't know I was missing that until we got to see it in this episode.
Yeah. Yeah. And like you said, a little bit in the last one.
Yeah.
Because you can't just go around letting people do bad things to your friends.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes you have to stand up for them.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about the Ronnie. Now, I will be upfront that I didn't get into Doctor Who until the 50th anniversary episode. And I've been kind of... how was it worded to me? That's like entering the race halfway through. And I'm like, you know what? I'm a new fan, so suck it. So I've been doing a lot of catch up of the modern Who since Eccleston forward.
Yep.
I'm pretty adept at that. But classic Who up until 87, 88 when they stopped the series, I have a ton of holes there.
Yeah. We're doing our best. I mean, because I came to Doctor Who in 3. Was he 3?
The Baker, Troy,
Tom Baker.
Tom Baker. Not Troy Baker. That's somebody completely different.
Yeah, Tom Baker. But not live. We started watching him in like the 80s on. They used to play it on PBS, so we started watching. So I have a lot of him, and then Peter Davison. But yeah. So we've gone back and started, because you can watch Classic Who. So we've gone back and started watching, specifically Tom Baker again.
Baker, yeah.
They're so bad. They're so bad.
We're trying, guys. We're trying.
A lot of the episodes take place in that stupid quarry. You're like, oh, look, we're in the quarry again. And we're back in the quarry. It's just a different alien. But yeah, so I mean, I didn't know about the Ronnie either until we just now started.
Right.
But apparently Nchuti wanted wanted to face the Ronnie. He was the impetus for that. So.
We have been talking about possibly the Master being the one that comes back,
right?
And I really, mostly based on everything that we've been getting in modern Who. We've had a couple different iterations of the Master, and all of them have been really good.
Well, and we should have known better because the big bad in last season was from
Jutek
Jutek. It was from the Tom Baker run. So we should have known better.
Yeah, we should have. and if you were to ask of us last night before we got around to this episode today, to pick a villain from or classic Who, we would have never picked the Ronnie. Like it wasn't even a thing that it happened. But the idea that Mrs. Flood was working for someone else we were kind of on top of that one. Because there was too many hints that she wasn't her.
The Ronnie, but then she bi-generated.
Right.
So now she is like the David Tennant, the 14th Doctor.
Right.
David Tennant, and Ncuti is like Ronnie A. Ronnie A, sorry.
They called her Ronnie
A.
Ronnie A, and then the definitive the Ronnie.
Right.
So
and Mrs. Flood is the Ronnie B.
Yeah.
Which go back. Oh yeah, no. Now see, we're looking at a picture of the Ronnie from Classic Who. I do remember her. Yeah.
The very flamboyant outfits. I've seen stuff with her. She is being portrayed by Archie Bajami.
Mm-hmm. Punjami. Panjami.
Is it Panjami? Okay.
Yeah, Panjami.
Okay, so this idea of another Time Lord gives me the feel of the face of Bo saying, "You're not alone," to the Doctor, and this version of the Ronnie themselves is like a biochemist who will test on everything, including humankind, and is doing all this stuff. And it feels like with the way they've set everything up with the destruction of Earth and them showing up and now being bi-generated and stuff like that, that either it's an experiment on humankind and how they would survive, or she wants revenge on the Doctor for whatever that happened to them.
Right. Yeah. I mean, obviously she's got something to do with the non-existence of Earth after May 24th.
Right.
I was just sitting here thinking about it, because it's always been Gallifrey's gone. I'm the last of my kind, right?
Yeah.
Which we know isn't true because the Master has always been out there, and the Master is also a Time Lord. Okay, but it's like in Star Wars, the eradication of the Jedi, right?
Right.
Everybody wasn't on let me go be on the planet while it's being destroyed. Like, everybody wasn't going to be there.
Yeah,
It's same thing with the Jedi. They weren't all in the temple when it got destroyed. So it just makes sense that there's going to be more Time Lords out there. It's just interesting that they really haven't kind of played with that more.
I agree. I agree that it's weird that I won't say weird. I find it interesting that they haven't played with that idea some more.
Yeah.
It's always been either the Master or some regeneration of the Master.
Right. And the Doctor. They're the only two.
Two, yeah. But I'm also thinking we had 17 different stories of the Daleks, the last Daleks.
Right.
Or the Cybermen. Like, the Cybermen makes sense because they just figure out a program and just hide somewhere forever. Yeah. But I like this idea of expanding out the there are other Time Lords out there. That opens up the storytelling so much more.
Yeah.
It would be so much more interesting if the Doctor went on a quest to find all the Time Lords. It's something he's never done.
Yeah.
And it could be very easily discussed in one scene about, I've never done it because I always thought I was the only one.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he thinks that. They think that deep down in their heart. I think that
He did run away.
they, yes, ran away, felt unappreciated, whatever by the council of Time Lords. They treat the Doctor like poo every time.
Yep.
So I think it's more just like, oh, I'm the last one. Let's not talk about that.
Yeah.
I'm the last one. That's all there is to it. Let's go someplace fun.
Yeah.
They don't want to. They don't want to think about
definitely,
it. Talk about
definitely the running away from responsibility or whatever. And every iteration of the Doctor has had some moment where they had to deal with what happened in the Time War, but also being the last, believing that they're the last of their kind. Every iteration of the Doctor has had to deal with that.
Yeah.
And I really appreciated that. Like, let's open up this idea that there's other Time Lords out there. It's not just the Master and the Time and the Doctor. It's the Ronnie. It could be Dave the healer on Proxima 6.
You know what it's like? It's like somebody like a kid or a teenager, a young adult who, came from like an abusive home, and they run away and they start their own life. And when people ask about their family, they're like, "Oh, they're dead."
Right.
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 Instead of having to go back and revisit and think about, oh, no, they are probably out there, and I probably could go. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Just, no, they're dead.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. It opens up so much more storytelling.
Yeah.
And I talked about this. I talked about this last week, and then I'm going to bring it up again, that I was really concerned about having a black Doctor, male or female, because of just how Earth's history is.
Right.
But with this idea of having other Time Lords out there, you can play with a bunch of different stories without necessarily having to come back to Earth and going through the history of Earth. That's still going to be part of the show.
Yeah.
But this idea that they don't have to necessarily always come back to Earth now. They can go to different planets and have this reoccurring theme of running into Time Lords.
Yeah, maybe.
Time Lords in hiding. How many Jedi were in hiding? Hiding their abilities. Like, it just be...
I mean, I don't think that it's going to be like this whole, we're just going to take a right-hand turn and now Doctor Who is going to be all about finding other Time Lords. I just think it opens up like the Ronnie, and in a season or two, maybe another Time Lord shows up that they can't figure out why this is going on or happening. Or
they've kind of teased that. The Christmas episode with the guy who played the governor in The Walking Dead, and he opened one of the storage things, and he had the memories of the Doctor.
Right.
It was a nice little thing
they did
to have
play with
done.
that. Yeah.
So if you could kind of play with that.
Come to my TARDIS, and it was actually a hot air
balloon. Yeah. We bring all of the Time Lord stuff up because when the Doctor was out in the cold vacuum of space, he had visions of someone on the TARDIS who happened to call him grandfather. And it actually was...
Susan!
It was actually Susan, and it's actually being played by Carol Ann Ford.
Yep. She can do that because she was like 19, I think, when the original, very first Doctor Who, when she was on it. Yeah. So that's why she's still.
Oh my God.
Well, and they talked about her.
I was just going to say, they've been teasing this since last season.
Yeah.
Now they teased stuff about Mrs. Flood too, the start of last season, but the Doctor has talked about Susan in passing with both Ruby and Belinda, just in conversation.
Yep.
Just like
just enough for us to go, oh yeah, and then forget about it.
Yeah. Yeah, because this iteration of the Doctor is all about forgiving himself.
Yeah.
That's what the Bi Generation did, is that he allowed himself to forgive himself for all the things that he had gone through.
Yeah.
So that rage of the Doctor has subsided. It's still there. But the fact that Susan kept getting kind of name dropped and everything is why I've been loving these 2 seasons. I love that Davies has an idea of what he's doing. And that it's not just the adventure of the week. There's, sure, we're having fun, the big monster of the week, the big song contest of the week, if you want to do that. But there's also this underlying hint. You don't even know that they're hints until they drop this bombshell. And when the Doctor sees Susan on his TARDIS.
Yeah. Well, his TARDIS does look a lot like Hartnell's.
Yeah.
Hartnell's?
Yeah.
TARDIS. I mean, because it was very just, obviously it was the 50s, right? And TV was in black and white. So maybe it was in color, but as far as we're concerned, it was very monochromatic, which his TARDIS is. It's like white. Yeah. So it probably was his, but it looked, it could pass for Hartnell's too.
Yeah. I just, there's 2 episodes left, and there's Wish World. I'm gonna click
reality on something.
The Reality War.
Yes.
Yes. So that's, I find, very interesting. Yep. So Wish World will be on the 25th. 24th.
Yep.
Which is the date that they've been talking about the entire time.
Right.
And then the final episode itself is the Reality War.
Yep. So something's
going to happen. Now, I bring all of that up because there has been 0 conversation that the next season has been filmed, that they have been greenlight, that there's been nothing. And the reason that I'm not worried about it. Like Davey said, I have a 3-season arc.
Oh yeah.
Like I have a plan. This is the 3-season arc. This is what's going on. There's also Donna, River, 14, all still hanging out there. So I still think that there's a possibility that they could be brought back in. There was a reason they brought them back. Like there was a reason.
Yeah.
It wasn't just for nostalgia's sake. There was a reason to it. So the BBC, and this has been one of my complaints for a really long time with the BBC, is that information was loosey-goosey, let out into the world, and we, as the audience, would hear about it before something would happen.
Yeah.
We knew months ahead of time that Jodie was gone, that Capaldi was gone, that Tennant was gone, that Matt Smith was gone. It wasn't a surprise.
Right. By the time you see it, it's like, okay.
Still emotional when they all left. And the Disney Plus side of having them be part of the production has really showed in the way this series has looked.
Yeah.
And
the marketing.
And the marketing and everything. And from what I've been able to find out, it's actually getting good numbers. I won't say ratings because that's not the right word, but it's getting good numbers on Disney Plus.
Good views.
And so that's all positive to me. So I'm not concerned that they're not going to get another season. I love that we have no information.
Right. Yeah. Definitely.
I don't know what the next season's going to. I don't know what this season was going to be. Mrs. Flood is around. But
let's get through the last 2 episodes.
Let's get through the last 2 episodes.
Before we start talking about the next season.
That's fair. That's fair. But the Reality War is a very interesting title.
Yeah. Yep.
Because it's Doctor Who. It's Davies. It could all have just been a fever dream the last 2 seasons.
Yeah. Interesting.
I would not be surprised if the Doctor wakes up and his arms are too long. and that's from that point forward, everything has been a lie, not a lie, or a dream, or a hallucination, or like everything's on the board right now, and I love that.
Yep.
I love that idea. I'm still excited that we got the Rage of the Doctor. Anything else you want to talk about this episode?
They dropped Mavity like 50 times.
Yes. The
was
Mavity
awesome.
well. And I love that that's just if you didn't watch that episode,
Right? You're like, what?
you have no idea.
Why do they keep calling it Mavity?
And I love that. I love that there's a running joke for all of those who are keeping up.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean anything to everybody else unless you've been watching the entire time.
Yeah. But you giggle every time somebody says Mavity. You're like,
I do want to talk about one thing that I am missing. And there really hasn't been a point. Why am I still pointing at the sky for this one? There's one thing that it's been missing, and I didn't know I was missing it until this episode because I don't know where he would have put it. Where is the psychic notebook, the psychic paper?
oh. Yeah, but I mean, he doesn't use it all the time.
Right,
He's never used it all the time.
Every other iteration of the Doctor has had a big giant coat, so they could just hide it inside the coat. The outfit he wore in this episode, you could see everything.
Maybe there was, I don't know.
A pocket, it's bigger on the inside. He's all Hermione with the...
Yeah.
Because that Sonic just doesn't work well on the lines of the pants.
Yeah, because he's got to put the Sonic somewhere too, so...
And this version of the Sonic is way overpowered. But it still doesn't have a wood setting.
As far as we know, anyway.
As far as we know. That's a running joke that's really good, too. So I just... we're gushing at this point because all these episodes have been really, really good, and we've been super happy. The Last of Us has been bonkers good this season. Andor was amazing. Oh, by the way, Doctor Who has been killing it too.
Right. Just a plethora of good series
Our
going on.
nerd hearts are happy.
Yep.
So let us know what you thought of this episode and our discussion about it in the comments down below. Give us your theories about what you think is going to happen in the last 2 episodes, especially when it comes to the reality war. And if you're on the Spotify side, follow us here, share with your friends. We really appreciate you guys being here. If you're on the YouTube side, hit the subscribe button, the bell for notifications. We're dropping all kinds of stuff, trailer reactions, movie reviews, and all kinds of stuff. And follow us on all the social media stuff. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky. I'm writing for the Geek Geary. We are in the process of moving. If you could see behind the camera, there's boxes everywhere. If you're in the Pacific Northwest area, specifically the Portland, Vancouver area, tell us your favorite geekdom, comic book, bar, whatever in that area. We'd love to know because we're trying to find some places. And until next time, cult members, good afternoon, good evening, and good night now.